This is a Kansas City Chiefs instant reaction. A pleasant good evening to those in the Chiefs kingdom wanting to bask a little longer in a 28-18 victory over the San Francisco 49ers this afternoon that has moved the Chiefs to 6-0. They are the lone unbeaten left in the National Football League after today's Week 7 action. The 580 Sports Talk crew here to break it all down on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, which is 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, also on Facebook at WIBW News. Dan Lucero, Dzwierzynski, Spencer Dupuis here to break it all down, and another convincing victory for the Chiefs. Just like last week, it felt like the final score not really a reflection of how dominant the Chiefs were in going on the road, coming off of a bye where Andy Reid has been a master his entire career. 22-4 off of the regular season bye for Andy Reid, and 5-0 as a true underdog. Straight up 5-0 as an underdog coming off a bye. The Chiefs get the job done. Let's go around the horn. Brendan, start with you. What jumped out to you about today's performance for the Chiefs?
Well, the thing that jumped out to me is that they somehow found a way to win despite looking, again, not fun at all to watch. It looked, and Tom Brady even mentioned this on the broadcast. He was specifically talking about the 49ers, but I felt the same thing applied for the Chiefs. Felt like every yard was hard to come by in this game. It felt like it was just a real slog for both teams. I don't think Mahomes played especially well. The second interception, I'm not cheesed about. Like, Xavier Worthy fell down. I'm not worked up about that. It is what it is. But I didn't think the Chiefs played especially well offensively. I thought the defense was unstoppable. I thought that was the best defensive game that the Chiefs have played all season long. 18 points is not functionally how many the 49ers scored in this game, because that was garbage time at the end. That didn't matter for anything, especially after the 2-point try was missed. I thought that was the best defensive showing from this team all season long. I thought the coverage was good. I thought you got a couple of young guys who have not played a whole lot, who obviously made plays. You had Roland Wallace, who had the one interception. It was great to see Jaden Hicks out there. Granted, the first time we saw Jaden Hicks in the game, it was one of the more, I'm just going to say it was one of the dumber decisions Andy Reid has made all year. Just leave Patrick Mahomes on the field. We can save that for 580 Sports Talk this week. That'll be a segment for another day. But we saw Jaden Hicks out there making some plays. He gets the interception in the red zone in the second half. So a lot of positives from the defense. I was very impressed by them. Brady also said he thinks Leo Chenal is one of the most underrated players in the entire NFL. You want to talk about high praise from the greatest to ever do it. But no, I have no qualms at all with the way that the defense of the Chiefs played. I am not gravely concerned about this offense, and I would stop short of being too quick to put them down, because I don't think it's like one specific fatal problem. I think Patrick Mahomes is playing poorly. I think Andy Reid is calling some pretty crappy games right now, to be completely honest with you. But the thing that's impressive is that they find a way to win, and Patrick Mahomes has the best scramble of his life. I don't know who 53 for San Francisco is, but buddy, I hope you've got someone who works in unemployment in Northern California who's got an in for you. I hope you've got LinkedIn, dude. Holy cow. Get off. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, that dude's out. What are you? You fell for a pump fake 20 yards downfield? Have you ever played football before? Get out of my face. So they found a way to win. That is impressive. I have some pretty sizable concerns, but I do think it was positive that they A, found a way to win, and B, found a way to use the guys who are going to have to play bigger roles for this team down the stretch, found ways to use them effectively. Noah Gray, Kelsey was a decoy for most of the game. That opened up Noah Gray for a couple opportunities. I loved going to Samaje Perine as the closer. Samaje Perine was the Mariano Rivera for the Chiefs in this game. They brought him in to hold on to the ball at the end. They knew he wasn't going to fumble. Give it to Samaje, put the game on ice. I loved that approach from the Chiefs. They got Hardman working because he loves to play against the 49ers and no one else, it seems. So all in all, can't be too upset. I've got concerns about the offense, but when the defense is that good, it's hard to be too stressed about a game you end up winning by 10 points.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, Brendan. And I think we learned today that they are going to, in fact, lean on Kareem Hunt. He got 22 carries again today. Over 20, I think it was like 28 last week, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere right around that number.
27.
Yeah, so 27 last week, 22 this week, and averaging 3.5 a pop. I believe that's what he does for his career average. Didn't get over the 100-yard mark, but took the ball in the end zone twice. And then I'll give it to you, Dan. Mecole Hardman, I was giving you crap for that on the show Friday. He was your big Chief pick. He comes in the clutch. He takes the ball on an end around and gets in for a touchdown. And you're going to need guys like him to come up and make big plays for you down the stretch of the season. He did it again to the 49ers. He did it in the Super Bowl, and he did it tonight.
I want to address a couple of things you guys said. First of all, number 53 for the 49ers, his name is D. Winters. He played at TCU. Maybe you remember him from his days in the Big 12. Apparently, he doesn't have that old Big 12 defense stink off of him because, not a great game for him.
Yeah, well, it's time for nuclear winter on his career. Get him off my field. I would be livid if I was Kyle Shanahan right now.
So, in regards to the offense, I don't know that I would say that I have concerns. I don't think Patrick Mahomes has played his best football by any stretch of the imagination through these 6 games. 2 interceptions today, neither of them his fault necessarily. One of them is a receiver fell down. The other defensive lineman made a good play. That's part on the quarterback, but also give the D lineman credit for staying with the ball that he batted up in the air. So, the other guys, they practice and live in big houses too. But no, this hasn't been vintage Patrick Mahomes, not by any stretch of the imagination. I did like that the Chiefs tried to stretch the field. They had a touchdown to Xavier Worthy deep. If Mahomes puts a little bit more air under the deep ball, that was 2 plays before he threw his second interception of the game. But I just think the Chiefs are comfortable with their identity right now on offense of we're really efficient running the ball. We're going to get into 3rd and short where we can do anything we want. We can run it or we can throw it. And if we get into a tough 3rd down situation, we have the best quarterback alive. And we saw that they were in the 6-minute offense late in the game. They're up 21-12 after the Hicks interception, and they're trying to kill the game off, and they're just playing smash mouth football. They're just lining it up and running it over and over again, and they know the 49ers can't do a whole lot about it. And then when they did get into 3rd and 8, and the 49ers knew they would throw, and the pocket collapsed, Mahomes steps up and makes a throw to Noah Gray while he's falling down, and Gray makes the catch and keeps the drive going, and it ultimately ends with the Hardman touchdown. I think it's strange to think that this is the Chiefs' offensive identity. I wish they would go over the top a little bit more. I wish they would utilize the advantage of having the best quarterback in the league a bit more than they do. Talked about that last week on 580 Sports Talk. But look, ground and pound works for this team. Ground and pound is working for this team to the tune of a 6-0 start. It may be boring, but Mark says in the YouTube comments, winning counts. Even if it's boring, just go win. And they won. They punched San Francisco in the mouth, and when they needed Mahomes to make a play, he's better at making plays from his position than any other quarterback in the league, both with his arm and we saw even with his legs, he can make plays as well. So I thought the offense is just kind of settling into their identity and doing things that they know work against the 49ers. And that is get Mecole Hardman on the perimeter. Like, it's not an accident, guys. There's a reason I picked him as my big chief. There's a reason he caught the winning touchdown pass in the Super Bowl. There's a reason his best game as a pro was the 3-touchdown game in that same stadium back in 2022. The Chiefs know that that's how you get this 49er defense. That's how you burn the defensive ends and the linebackers and the aggressive nature with which they play. Get guys in motion and get them out on the perimeter. They know that works. And they hit for some big plays on that with Xavier Worthy and with Mecole Hardman, the touchdown sealer, being the last one. Hardman had a good game. Noah Gray. Brendan, you and I have been begging for more Noah Gray in the offense. Career high in receiving yards for him. And a big step. I think that certainly a lot of attention paid to Travis Kelce helped Gray get open, but I think Gray showed that he can find some space. He can adjust his route, that maybe some of working with 87, rubbing off on Noah Gray.
Yeah, I don't really understand why he's never been a bigger part of the offense. I know, Spencer, you mentioned it. We were just texting during the game. You mentioned it, and you mentioned it the other day on the show as well on 580 Sports Talk that, hey, they clearly like him. They gave him the contract extension, which literally nobody, I don't know if Noah Gray expected to get a contract extension from the Kansas City Chiefs at the end of his rookie deal. I'm happy he's getting one because I think he's a good player. I think he's a useful player, but I've never understood why he's not a bigger part of this team. And I think today was an example of a couple of different things. One, and Dan, what you're getting at here is that he is a useful player. He's got a useful skill set. If you remember his draft profile coming out of Duke, what was essentially the report on him? He's a work in progress as a blocker. He is a receiving tight end. I think he's never going to be, George Kittle as a blocker, but I think he's at least functional when they ask him to do it. And he's got really good footwork as a receiving tight end, both in line and downfield. They really liked the scouts, the draft folks, really liked the way he used his feet. He was able to explode despite not being a super plus athlete. He's got good hands. He's got good body control. And I think you saw stuff like that today, considering the fact that the Chiefs were able to use him for big plays in a multitude of ways. The one drive in the first half when he had multiple explosive plays, I think that's a great example of what I'm trying to get to here. Use him on a little middle screen, tight end screen, get him in space, going downhill, let him use that speed, some of that footwork to pick up a big gain. Also, the deep throw, the actual vertical throw, they had him when they went with that high-low, Travis Kelce underneath on the crosser. They had Gray go vertical. That's that same kind of thing. He can get open. He's got athleticism. He's got pretty good hands. I can't remember a devastating drop during the course of his career. He's a very useful player, and I think along with all of those individual athletic traits, this is what people talk about when they say, well, the coach needs to scheme guys open. That's probably one of the most empty calories phrases that gets used on football, social media, or in football discussion. Well, they don't scheme guys open. Okay, what do you mean? Like when someone says that to you, ask them next, like, what do you actually mean by scheme someone open? And if they don't point to this as an example of it, they probably don't know what they're talking about, because finding a way to manufacture these touches, knowing, hey, they're going to focus all of their in between the hashes defense on 87. We can bring him low, send 83 deep, and he's going to end up getting open. That's going to be a positive. That is scheming a guy open. So I thought it was a great use of his skill set combined with good scheming by Reed. I know I criticized him earlier, but I thought Reed did a great job with Noah Gray in this game. That's the kind of thing that the Chiefs really need to continue to build on.
I want to get to the defense here, and I'll start with some bad news first. Doesn't sound good, like good news for Jalen Watson. Nate Taylor tweeting a little bit ago that he's got his left foot and ankle in a cast and is on crutches in the locker room. He got stepped on in the second half of the game, and being in a cast, not a great sign. So hope for the best for Jalen Watson, who was playing at such a high level to start this season, and looks like he might be shut down for a little bit. We'll wait for official word from Andy Reid, of course, from the team doctors as we go, but early indications not good for Jalen Watson. That is the bad news. Here's the good news. How many of y'all knew who Chris Roland Wallace was before today? He played all of one defensive snap going into
I knew
the week.
about him because from Cutdown Day. That's the only time we'd ever heard of the dude. He's like, who? What?
He made the roster.
Who was that?
Who?
Yeah. He made the roster, and now he's got an intercept. He has more career interceptions than Trent McDuffie, playing extended snaps for the first time in his career. He now has more career interceptions than Trent McDuffie. Jaden Hicks also with an interception as well. I know, Spencer, you had talked to Matt Derrick, our Chiefs insider, about when are these rookies? When are we going to see more of these rookies on the field for the Chiefs? I know Matt talked about, maybe wanting to conserve them and conserve their snaps as they go along in their rookie seasons. But once again, young guys stepping up and showing that they're ready for prime time in this Chiefs defense. They just keep turning out guys who are capable of making plays in the secondary.
Yeah, they really do. And I actually asked him a question about rookie tight end Jared Wiley not getting on the field. And he said, this is kind of a rookie altogether thing. And he said, if you put him on the field, referring to,
Hicks.
I'm losing, or referring to Hicks, then he's going to make some plays, basically, is what he told us on Friday on the show. He said, what I see in practice makes me think he should be on the field. And what he saw during training camp, and that's right there. He comes up with the pick, reads the route, jumps the route, makes the interception in the end zone, which that's a critical point in the game for you to make an interception down as the 49ers are driving, and potentially could have at least even scored a field goal at that point if they weren't able to get into the end zone. So that's a big pick for him to start his career off.
Yeah, give a lot of credit to the Chiefs defense. Another terrific effort for them. In addition to the Roland Wallace and Hicks interceptions, Justin Reed had a pick early in the game. 3 interceptions thrown by Brock Purdy, 2 of them in scoring range. So those were very impactful. George Karlaftis, I thought, played his best game of the season. I thought he was superb. Just another terrific effort for this Chiefs defense that they are really leaning on for this 6-0 start. Not maybe getting the explosive offense of years past. This 28-point effort, their most points scored so far in 6 games for the Chiefs, but finding a way to lean on the defense, lean on the running game, and they're the only unbeaten left in the NFL. Let's get a quick final thought before we wrap things up on this Chiefs instant reaction. We'll go in reverse order. Spencer, quick final thought on what this win means and what you're looking forward to talking about on Monday's 580 Sports Talk.
I mean, look, you get to 6-0. A win is a win is a win, and eventually Patrick Mahomes is going to figure it out, and he's going to be torching defenses in week 14, 15, 16, and 17. So all I got to say is it's going to take time. Maybe they do need a receiver. Kind of concerned that Juju is out of the game. Maybe they should have just held him out to begin with because he was already limping essentially coming into this one. But a win is a win is a win.
Yep, and to build on that, Spencer, we had a couple of folks in the live chat on the YouTube feed, both Gary and Mark had asked about wide receivers. I want to make sure we touch on that on Monday on 580 Sports Talk because I've got some fairly strong thoughts about that after this week. But as hard as I've been on the offense, I do think it is worth noting it is impressive to find a way to win. This did not feel like a multi-score win. And for all intents and purposes, it was a 3-touchdown win by the Chiefs. Garbage time touchdown at the end, that's irrelevant. The game was already decided at that point following the Hardman touchdown. So I appreciate that this team continues to find ways to win so differently than we are used to with this group. There are things to work on, but Spencer, I think you just outlined the ideal situation here. You just get by with this offense as is for the time being, let the defense carry you, and then you hit to it, you get to a new level in the postseason, similarly to what they did last year. And if they're able to do that again, as much as I have some concerns, it worked out pretty well. So you can probably live with that formula, or at least planning for that for the time being.
Final thought for me that we'll expand on tomorrow on 580 Sports Talk. We have talked about the Chiefs' run defense and how good it has been against some of the elite running backs in the league. Well, Jordan Mason's playing like an elite running back, and a lot of that is the scheme. The 49ers have one of the best running game schemes in the NFL, and they couldn't do a thing against the Chiefs on the ground for the better part of this game. So if you can't outrun them because you got dudes, and you can't bully them at the line of scrimmage, and you can't scheme your way to success on the ground against the Chiefs, what the hell do you do? Because throwing on them, that's not real well-advised either, it would seem, after Brock Purdy threw 3 interceptions. Granted, he was working with receivers 4, 5, and 6, but hey, so was Patrick Mahomes. So, and he made it shake and had fewer turnovers, and his team won convincingly. So that's the big difference. But the Chiefs' defense continues to shine and really be the headliner for this football team. The lone unbeaten in the National Football League. The Kansas City Chiefs, 6-0. We'll have much more to say about this one as we join you tomorrow for 580 Sports Talk. We'll be live from 3 to 6 Central on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9 in Topeka, Northeast Kansas, and right on these same video channels as well. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube, WIBW News on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. We'll talk to you on Monday. This has been a Chiefs Instant Reaction, the 580 Sports Talk gang. For Spencer, for Brendan, I'm Dan.